Can you comment on the pricing of it relative to this morning's session for finance and investment? There was kind of somewhat a degree of a hand-wringing over the fact that municipal water is a low-margin business and it therefore doesn't yield a whole lot of return on investment to investors. But given that many places in Marcellus in particular you talked about, the oil and gas industry is paying 300 times as much to get rid of a gallon of water as we pay, this hotel paid for a glass of clean water, a gallon of clean water. Why is the investment not going, if only from the oil and gas industry itself, like Halliburton?
Okay. It depends on where you are, and it varies in my mind. And I've been looking at this because you need to look at the market segment and say how much of it is the $16 a barrel, which there is, okay, and how much of it is $2 a barrel, which there is, and you want to find enough business at 5+. I think, although somebody might make a breakthrough here and come for well under 5. But I think you need to have enough business at 5+. This is a barrel, by the way, is 42 gallons. Okay, if you want to deal in gallons. Anyway, so it kind of depends. But here it'll be a moving target. Be careful, okay? Because they'll start reusing it, and somebody will come along with a clever way to treat just enough to reuse it, and now it's not $16 anymore. I'm sorry to say, but this area may be a bit fraught. It may be a moving target. I'm sorry because I want you all to do something about it. Yes.
Nate Hutchings with Bear Creek. The oil and gas industry right now, especially the shale plays, are just in their infancy, except for the Barnett. So there's a lot of decentralized jumping around. It's a big country. Could you describe what you think the technologies need in order to be able to fit into the logistics, where one of the major costs is moving water, 30, 50, 100 miles between locations, the timing of the water. What do you think it's going to take?
What I would like to see, distributed processing at the site, maybe aggregate a few sites. That's going to happen anyway because the industry is going towards what we call pad drilling, which is basically a single location from which you drill up to 2 miles. And they're doing it partly because these are farmlands and so forth, and you don't want to despoil it, so you want fewer roads. So pad drilling is going to allow for an aggregation to begin with. But I am a big believer in distributed processing, which makes it more costly. So there you go. So the technology has to be so that economies of scale are not critical, at least for this application. So that's where I would go. I would go with distributed processing in order to return it and reuse it. Or to use it for what I call the use of convenience. Perhaps agriculture nearby, perhaps an algae pond, I don't know, etc. Yeah.
You have a fantastic group of tech entrepreneurs here in the room. What's your wish list of technologies for the energy industry to solve the water problems the energy industry has?
Yeah, my wish list is, and we will get to you too, I think, if she'll allow it, almost done. My wish list is that, first of all, because I see shale gas as being critical to the energy security of this nation because of the points I made, I want that to be saved first. So I would like technology to be addressed to unleash shale gas. And you all decide what that means, okay? The clients will decide what that means. But that is required. My next wish would be that we take those 4 trillion gallons a year, but they're everywhere in the world, of course, and make something useful with it. Some of it's not that noxious. So, for example, the water that comes with associated what's called coal bed methane is sometimes potable. It's funny, but it is. And so they're not all bad. But what I would like to see is that the industry does not have any waste. That we don't have, because right now they put it back in the ground. They basically pump it back in the ground, which could have issues. So those are my first wish is unleash shale gas for this nation. And by the way, there's lots of this rest of the world. This is not just a US event. When you look at the geology of it and understand why it happened, it's everywhere. And I particularly expect it to be in Poland and in Europe, where it will do dramatic things to the influence of Russia, which actually holds up Europe with its gas. So it has geopolitical significance. Have-not countries will suddenly be awash with gas. And one last question there. Yes.
Yeah, Vik. The question I have is regarding innovation. Okay, I think the focus of your talk today has been mainly on the production side. Innovations for producing more energy that the world will need once the amount of oil levels off. What about innovation on the consumption side to increase the efficiency of current processes so that we don't have to use this much energy to do? Where would you be placing your bets? More on consumption, which it sounds like you would likely do, or are there opportunities to place bets on innovation in the consumption for increasing efficiencies?
Okay. Well, first of all, it's interesting you use the term innovation. I was curious that the word IP, it's not a word actually, but it's a word, was hardly mentioned. And I'm just so curious about that. In fact, if the one time it was mentioned, it was sort of disparaged a little bit. And I understand the point. You can have IP for something, but if somebody else can do something else that's pretty much the same functionality, that IP is not as valuable. Yours has to be really cornering the market. I would say you need innovation from both sides. And this is what I discussed. Because the user, if they innovate to use it more effectively, will profit themselves. And then if the supplier innovates to satisfy that user, everybody wins. But in that case, the IP is split in sense, because the user will have a method patents to use it, and these folks will have product patents or whatever. But I think everyone comes out ahead. And I believe I've run out of time. Am I correct, Laura? Where is she? No whip? No whip. Yeah, we're done. Thank you.
We're going to take a break for about 15 minutes and come back at 2 o'clock. There's an error in the agenda, but we're going to start at 2 and go until 2:30. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Vik.